Hello everyone. In this video, I will tell you about maxillary second and third molars. The maxillary second molars are also referred to as 12-year molars as they erupt at around 12 years of age. The mandibular second molars also are called 12 years molar. The maxillary third molars are often called wisdom teeth as they erupt around 18 years of age, though their eruption time is highly variable. The maxillary second molar occludes with mandibular second and third molars, while the maxillary third molar occludes with mandibular third molar only. The second molar shows initiation of calcification at 2.5 to 3 years of age, while the third molar shows initiation of calcification at about 7 to 9 years of age. The second molar shows crown completion by 7 to 8 years of age, almost the same time when the third molar shows initiation. And the third molar shows crown completion by 12 to 16 years of age. The second molar erupts around 12 to 13 years of age, while the third molar erupts around 17 to 21 years of age. The root of second molar is complete around 14 to 16 years of age, while the third molar root completes around 18 to 25 years of age. The maxillary second molar is smaller than the first molar, but it is larger than the third molar. The maxillary third molar is the shortest tooth in the permanent dentition, that is, it is apico-occlusal length, the length of root and the crown. It is shorter than any other permanent tooth. The crown outline of all three maxillary molars from facial, lingual and proximal aspects can be described as trapezoidal. As you would notice, the facial root divergence decreases from first to third molar. So in the first molar, the facial roots show maximum divergence, while in the third molar, the roots are often fused. Apart from this, the third molars have most variable crown form of all the teeth, and it is also the most commonly missing tooth. Let's now go to the buccal aspect of these teeth. The crown size, that is the crown length and width, decreases from first to second to the third molar. So the first molar has largest while the third molar has the smallest crown. The root trunk of third molar is larger than the second molar, which is larger than the first molar. So the third molar has largest root trunk. The distal inclination of roots is maximum for third molar, followed by second molar, and least distal inclination is seen in first molar. The distal outline of distobuccal root of the second and third molars lies outside the distal outline of crown. The distobuccal cusp progressively becomes smaller from first to second, and it is smallest in the third molar. And because of this, the buccal groove location becomes more and more distal from first to second to third molar. Due to a relatively smaller distobuccal cusp, portions of the distal marginal ridge and distobuccal cusp may be visible in the second molar. The facial roots of second molar are of almost same length, unlike in the first and third molars, where the mesiobuccal root is a bit longer than the distobuccal root. Facial roots in second molar appear almost parallel, whereas in first and third molar, they lack this parallelism. The mesiobuccal root apex in the second molar is on line with the buccal groove of the crown instead of the tip of the mesiobuccal cusp, as is seen in the first molar. While in the third molar, the mesiobuccal root apex aligns distal to the buccal groove. Let's now go to the lingual aspect of the teeth. The distopalatal cusp becomes smaller from first to second molar and it is usually absent in the third molar. So there is only one lingual cusp in maxillary third molar. The lingual groove is more distal on the second molar as compared to the first molar. And since there is only one lingual cusp, the lingual groove is absent in third molar. The distobuccal cusp in second molar may be seen through the sulcus between the mesiolingual and distolingual cusps, as the distolingual cusp is relatively smaller than the first molar. The cusp of Carabelli is usually absent in both second and third molars. The lingual root apex in second molar is in line with the distolingual cusp tip instead of the lingual groove as seen in the first molar. So in first molar, palatal root or the lingual root is aligned with lingual groove, while in the second molar it is aligned with the distolingual cusp tip. Let's now go to the mesial aspect of these teeth. The buccolingual dimension of second molar is almost same as first molar, while the third molar is smaller. The root divergence on second molar is less than in first molar, while in the third molar the roots are often fused, so you won't notice any divergence. Also, you may notice here that the fused roots of third molar show apical taper, unlike the first and second molar where you would notice a divergence. The palatal root of second molar is relatively straight as compared to the first molar. Let's now go to the distal aspect. The distal crown taper increases from first to second to the third molar. So in third molar, most of the buccal surface is visible. The occlusal surface visibility from distal aspect is greatest for third molar, followed by second molar and least in first molar. The reason for increased occlusal surface visibility in second molar is shorter distobuccal and distolingual cusps as compared to the mesiobuccal and mesiolingual cusp. While in the third molar, there is a greater distal angulation of the occlusal surface relative to its long axis. The lingual root apex of second molar is in line with the distolingual cusp. Let's now go to the occlusal aspect. The occlusal outline of first molar is rhomboidal. The second molar may show one of the two crown outlines. First one is rhomboidal and it is more common, while the second one is heart-shaped and it is rare. The third molar usually has a heart-shaped outline since it lacks distolingual cusp. In second molar, the rhomboidal outline is more accentuated than in the first molar. What it means is that the acute angles are more acute and the obtuse angles are more obtuse as they are in first molar. The mesiofacial angle is most acute on this tooth. The distolingual angle is a right angle or a 90-degree angle. The mesiolingual and the distofacial angles are obtuse angles. The distal and lingual taper on the crown is greatest in third molar and least in the first molar. In fact, if you have watched my video on first molar, you already know that the first molar instead shows a lingual divergence. So instead of convergence, there would be a lingual divergence in the first molar. The oblique ridge is most prominent in the first molar, followed by second molar, and it is least prominent in third molar. The order of cusp size in these three teeth is: in the first molar, mesiopalatal is the largest cusp, followed by mesiobuccal, then distopalatal, then distobuccal, and cusp of Carabelli is the smallest. In second molar, the mesiopalatal cusp is again the largest cusp, followed by mesiobuccal, then distobuccal, and then distopalatal is the smallest cusp here. In the third molar, the single palatal cusp is the largest, followed by mesiobuccal, and then distobuccal is the smallest cusp. The number of supplemental grooves is maximum in third molar and least in first molar. The fossae on occlusal surface of the first and second molars are 4 in number, that is 2 major and 2 minor fossae, while in third molar they are 3 in number. So they are 1 major and 2 minor fossae. One major fossa may be missing in the third molar where distolingual cusp is absent. The major fossae on these teeth include central and distal, while the minor fossae include mesial triangular and distal triangular fossae. The distal fossa is the one that is usually absent on third molar. So that's all for now, friends. I hope this video was helpful. I will see you soon with a video on mandibular molars. Please do like, comment and share if you like this video. Thank you.